Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Tabatha Russell, and I am the CEO and founder of Inside Inspired Women Global, which is the home of the Breakthrough Millionaires. I'm thrilled to be here with you at the Business Brilliance Summit, sharing with you a life-changing message about millionaire math and about one of the most misunderstood and underappreciated tools in business, and that's mistakes. Yes, you heard me correctly. Today, we're going to discuss why mistakes are some of the most powerful opportunities for your growth. In fact, I'd argue that every time your business misfires, you gain a chance to build a stronger foundation, sharpen your strategies, and catapult your business into an entirely new level. Now, make no mistake about it. If you're going to try to achieve 6 and 7 figure life, you need to stop fearing the fall, right? And start embracing the lessons. Some might say, learn from your mistakes, but I say, profit from them. By the end of this talk, you'll realize that your so-called failures can be the stepping stones for greater influence, impact, and income. Let's face it, if you've never made a business mistake, you probably haven't taken enough risk. And if you haven't taken enough risk, you're leaving money, opportunity, and innovation on the table. Mistakes are feedback from the real world telling us how to tweak our strategies for better results the next time. Each mistake contains clues and insights on where to pivot, where to hold firm, and where to double down. For example, consider Apple in the 1990s. Steve Jobs was ousted from the company he co-founded, right? That was a huge blow, a giant mistake in many people's eyes. But his experience outside of Apple, founding Next, as well as Pixar, directly fueled his creative genius upon returning. That mistake turned him into a more resilient and more innovative leader. Ultimately, Apple soared to new heights under his new vision. And let's just say that into the conglomerate that Apple is today. So your mistakes, your downfalls, and your painful setbacks might be the very fuel that powers your next breakthrough. So I say embrace them. Now, we're going to talk about a couple of different lessons on today. So lesson one is to shift your mindset. And the key here is to adopt a failure-friendly mindset that sets the foundation for every successful entrepreneur. So the first thing is that you want to reframe your errors, right? Instead of saying I failed, say I found a gap, right? You didn't fail, you discovered something that doesn't work. So focus on the solutions and not self-condemnation. The second thing is pride versus progress. I know nobody likes to say, oh my gosh, I failed. I fell flat on my face. Can I just say that I've learned to embrace that? Like this very message that I'm talking to you today really changed my life. As an entrepreneur, I made one decision, one mistake, right? I brought in a partnership, had just got this $1 million contract, thought that I was on top of the world, getting ready to go and live the dream life. Well, little did I know that somebody else wanted my business a little bit more than I did. I didn't know what I didn't know. In that one decision, I lost a $500,000 and ultimately everything that I owned. Can I just say, nobody, especially me, wanted to talk about that at the time. And there was nobody in my circle that I could go to help me to navigate that business transaction that I had going on at the time, right? I didn't know that I needed an attorney. I didn't know that I needed an accountant. I didn't know that I needed to make sure that my contract had a contract, right? So with that being said, each time a plan flops or a client unsubscribes or a product doesn't sell, run a quick post-mortem, right? Write down what went well, what didn't go well, and what's the next step. That single action shifts you from devastated to determined, right? Because now you could take all of the things that didn't go well and come up with a game plan, right? A SOP if necessary, a systematic process on how you can do things better. So if your pride is too large to accept that you're wrong or that you made the mistake, you'll never see the profit potential hidden in the whole challenge that you just went through. So cultivate humility. And then the third thing is to collect data, right? Not drama. So when something goes wrong, measure it. Ask, why did this outcome happen? And turn the emotional turmoil into factual inquiries, right? It's okay to ask questions. It's also okay to do deep dives where necessary. So your business can literally have you to learn its way to the bank, right? Lesson number 2 is to turn those mistakes into revenue. If you're willing to run experiments and systematically analyze each attempt, you'll be able to refine your products, your services, and marketing faster than you ever thought possible. And with this, we'll talk about 3 points here as well. So the first thing is that you want to leverage your customer feedback. Did you release a product that flopped? It didn't go so well, right? Don't just bury it in the graveyard of never speak about this again. Survey your customers, right? Figure out what went wrong. Was it the packaging? Was it the timing? Was it your value proposition? Or was it the market fit? Then use that knowledge to pivot. The second thing is be willing to refine your marketing message. Launch add-ons on a smaller budget, gather data, and see where your message resonates in the marketplace. If ad number 1 outperforms ad number 2, then figure out why. And that why is your key to scaling. Every result, good or bad, is a mini gold mine of consumer psychology. And then number 3, if you're going to fail, fail fast, right? Fail small and then scale big. The beauty of mistakes is that they can be cheap if you catch them early. So test your idea on a small segment, right? Measure results and then refine. This approach can be or can prevent catastrophic losses and pave the way into your multi 6 and 7 figures real quick. And lesson number 3 here is beyond strategy and tactics, your personal identity as a business owner must be resilient enough to withstand the setbacks. The greatest entrepreneurs are those who bounce back after a gut punch, right? Because they know who they are and what they stand for. So you want to build a resilient identity. That is lesson number 3. And so the first step to this is separate your self-worth from your business outcomes. So if your project bombs, and it doesn't mean that you're a failure, it means the approach needs rethinking. It needs potentially some restructuring and refining. So resist the urge to wrap your identity into your profit margins, right? You're bigger than any single campaign or product. And then number 2, you want to cultivate mental toughness. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart, right? Start each day with a routine that grounds you. So meditation, journaling, exercise, and gratitude, most of all, those habits strengthen your mental armor, allowing you to see mistakes as merely part of the process. It's hard to see a mistake, or it's hard to be negative when you have gratitude in your life, when you're constantly saying, you know what, I am so thankful that that product did not work and it only affected 1 client or 2 clients. Can you imagine having hundreds of thousands of clients and your product then flops, right? That's a big recipe for disaster. However, if you learn in the smaller stages, that allows you to be able to now grow exponentially. as you are building out your business. And then number 3 is storytelling power, right? The mistakes you survive from become the stories that connect with your audience on a deeper level. And so people gravitate to authenticity and vulnerability. Sharing your failures and how you turn them around creates trust and reliability. For many years, I would not even talk about my journey and how many times I moved or navigated life in general as I was building my business. And just merely from me losing everything naturally became a blessing of a lifetime because I practiced gratitude, right? And I was not okay, but I learned how to be okay with not being okay, right? And so with that, I just continue to keep going until I figured out all of the ways to get my business off the ground and make it flourish. So now that we've established the importance of leveraging those mistakes, let's move into 3 key essentials that will help you to be error-proof in your business, or more accurately, make the best possible use of those errors so you can live the 6 or 7-figure life of your dreams. So number 1 is a systematic review and pivot. I love talking about the pivot, right? What is it? It's a recurring process of evaluating your every initiative, your campaign, or product launch to pinpoint what worked and what didn't. Every step along the way in building your business, you want to make sure that you are evaluating what is happening in the business, and you want to make sure that you're right on task. How it helps? It helps you to create feedback, a feedback system and a feedback loop, so mistakes can't hide. You catch them, you learn from them, and you pivot immediately. If you're managing and you're measuring what's working and what's not working along the way, it becomes very evident on how you can pinpoint where the origin of the mistake happened. And then practical implementation. So you want to schedule weekly or bi-weekly brief meetings with your team, or even with yourself if you're a solopreneur, right? Ask direct questions. What unanticipated challenges arose in the process? Where can we optimize cost, marketing, or delivery? And what's our plan to fix these issues before the next cycle, right? Before you get the next client, before you send out the next product, what can you do to alleviate the challenges that you just faced? And then number 2 is you want to have clear and focused key performance indicators, often known as KPIs. What is it? It is the measurable metrics that matter most in your business, whether that's client acquisition costs, average sales price, or website conversion rates. How it helps you? It helps you by monitoring these metrics, so you'll quickly detect anomalies. If something's off, or if you're assigned to investigate potential mistakes, you'll be able to see them and it will be evident. I like to practice daily and weekly KPIs. Did we hit our mark? Did we talk to enough people? Did enough people sign up? Did we get enough people into our nurturing system? What is happening? And that allows us to be able to pinpoint where we can back into the challenge and identify how we can improve things. So practical implementation. So you want to pick the top 3 to 5 key performance indicators that truly drive revenue in your business and growth. So that way you can always notice the trends and you can keep an eye on it. But you also want to use a simple dashboard or spreadsheet to track them daily or weekly. And so when the numbers dip, ask why. Spot the problem early. Turn a budding mistake into a profitable pivot. Then you want to have an agile mindset and team culture. And what is this? This is a culture that prizes swift decision making, open communication, and rapid course correction. And how this helps you is that in a rigid environment, mistakes can be fatal. because people hide them. And in an agile environment, mistakes are quickly identified, they're shared and addressed, reducing negative impact and accelerating improvement. So, as we're talking about practical implementation, encourage your employees or your partners to speak up when something's not working. You will also want to foster open brainstorming sessions where no idea is dismissed outright. One of the things that we've done over the course of time is that we would whiteboard all of our meetings. We would put up there what works, what doesn't work, and then the system of what we're going to do going forward. And then you want to give people permission to test out small experiments without fear of blame if the experiment fails. So, by instilling these three essentials, systematic review and pivot, clear and focused KPIs, and an agile mindset and team culture, you effectively create a fortress around your business that turns any potential error into a gateway for improvement. Now, let's talk about the best part, right? Living the 6 and 7-figure life. So, how does all of this translate into that dream lifestyle? Whether you're eyeing your first 6-figure milestone or you're pushing into the 7-figure territory, consistent profit growth by learning quickly and adapting, you'll see fewer big crashes and more steady growth. That is so super important because as you are building out your business, it's going to help you to go to that next level. So mistakes caught early become course corrections that save or earn you tens of thousands, if not more. Also, you get to have some peace of mind as you're going through this, right? An error-proofed business or entrepreneurial approach means that you can rest easier. You know that if something breaks, your system and your team culture will fix it before it becomes a major threat. This is just like working in a production type of environment. You know that because everything is so automated or it's coming down the assembly line, if something is off, the potential that everything else coming behind it is off is huge. So you want to make sure that you mitigate the risk even in your business. If you're just doing one product, one service, one client, you can identify that quickly. And then you also want to make sure that you have confidence and credibility in your business. So when your audience sees your transparency about the mistakes and how swiftly you rectify them, they develop trust in you, in your business, and your products and services. So this trust transforms into more sales, deeper brand loyalty, and the ability to command premium pricing. As well as we don't want to forget scale at will. A well-oiled, continuous improving business model can be replicated. It also can be franchised or expanded with minimal risk. Your tested processes and robust feedback loops gives you the freedom to scale, which is how you move from 6 to 7 figures and beyond. And this is where the millionaire math comes in. You want to make sure that first you have your products, your services, and your system down. As you do that, you can now scale or afford to expand and potentially even franchise, right? Can you imagine being the next global brand like McDonald's or Burger King? What about Pepsi Cola and Coca-Cola, right? These companies have figured out their systems and they have something that's in place that now can be worldwide. What about you? Do you want to be a household name? Do you want people to think about you when they think about the products and services that you offer? So, as we finish up on today, I want you to remember, embrace your mistakes as the best teacher you'll ever have, as well as leverage every failure for the golden insights that it provides. And then protect your business with the three essentials: systematic review and pivot, clear key performance indicators, and an agile mindset and team culture. Do this consistently, and that 6 or 7 life won't be just a dream, it'll become your reality. because you're practicing millionaire math. And so your next steps is now to take a single issue or failure that you've recently experienced and perform a rapid debrief. Identify the cause, plan your pivot, and set your next KPI target, so your key performance indicator targets, and communicate that with your team. Put the strategy into action and watch how your mistakes become the stepping stones into your next level of success. My name is Dr. Tabatha Russell. And it has been a pleasure to share with you here on today how it is that you now can live the 6 and 7 figure life of your dreams. I'm glad that I was able to share with you Millionaire Math. And this is just a little bit about the strategies and some of the structure that we talk about in our Breakthrough Millionaires course, or in the inside of the academy. If you're interested, you can contact with us at drtabatharussell.com. That's where we have a free resource also that you can download. It is the Millionaire's Architectural Blueprint on how it is that you get to live the life of your dreams. Now, I will say it's been a pleasure. And if you desire to connect with me, I look forward to seeing you on the other side. And don't forget, celebrate those mistakes all the way to the bank. Take care.